Hey friends, Wesley from Bayside, Davis. I have 3 considerations that every person should think about when approaching mental health as a follower of Jesus. Sometimes the gap in our understanding between mental health and God, mental health and Jesus, is quite a chasm. But it's actually not a chasm. These are intersected realities. And whenever I talk about mental health in church to followers of Jesus, there's 3 rules that I start with. 3 things to know. 3 things that are liberating and helpful and really life-changing as concepts. Here they are. Number 1, whenever we talk about mental health in the church, the first rule is do not treat complex human experiences with overly simplistic cliches and answers. How many of us are guilty of that as far as with Jesus? We're like, oh, you're dealing with anxiety, you're dealing with depression, you're dealing with burnout, you're dealing with suffering, you're going through this. And we just drop this one-liner on them as though that one-liner is gonna totally transform their life instantaneously in that moment. No, life is full of complexity and storylines. And so we would be really wise to be considerate of that reality when we're interacting with our own mental health and other people's mental health as well. Number 2, do not prejudge a person's mental health condition as though it is a moral issue. I think we did this way too much in the past. We were like, oh, you're dealing with anxiety, must be sin, or you're dealing with depression, you must be selfish. Those types of false ideas are called stigmas. They're really hurtful. Somebody can be dealing with anxiety because of a traumatic experience in their childhood. Somebody can be dealing with depression because of hormone changes after childbirth. Somebody could be dealing with a mental health condition because of stress in their job. There could be so many variations of causes behind it that when we say, oh, your depression or your anxiety or your burnout or whatever it is in a person's life is a moral issue, that only makes it harder for somebody. And as followers of Jesus, we don't want to add shame and we don't want to add guilt and we don't want to add spiritual burden. We want to bring them freedom and hope and normalization to just say, hey, sometimes life is painful. It's not always a moral issue. And we live in a broken world. And all people who follow Jesus and live in a broken world face pain and suffering because of that. So I think it's really smart for us to do that. And then number 3, do not perpetuate stigmas that further worsen a person's pain. Don't just add more judgmental phrases, comebacks, one-liners, bad ideas like, oh, you're going through this mental health condition because you're far away from God, or you're dealing with anxiety because you don't pray enough, or you must need more faith in your life to overcome this. All of those things are not spiritually helpful. So we would be wise to think a little more complex. Not everything has a simplistic answer, to not prejudge people as though it's some spiritual issue, and to not just say really hurtful things that worsen a person's pain that they're already dealing with. We want to be people that give hope and help and build bridges and love people in pain. I think that's the way of Jesus. Jesus entered into people's pain. He learned their story. He understood their context. And I think if we follow in that way, we will help and give hope to so many people in our communities, in our families, and in our circles of influence. Hope you have an amazing day. In Jesus' name,